On one side of the net is the unseeded pairing of Alexandra Eala from the Philippines, just 20 years old, alongside her partner Zeynep Sönmez of Turkey. On the other side, they face the number 2 seeds and reigning California Desert champions, a duo packed with experience and Grand Slam pedigree, Taylor Townsend of the United States and Kateřina Siniakova of the Czech Republic. If you're just catching up with the clay court season, this matchup is drawing attention across the tennis world for a reason, and here's exactly why it's become one of the most talked about clashes on the tour. Sönmez and Eala were not exactly the names circled in bold on anyone's prediction sheets before the tournament began. Sönmez carries a doubles ranking of 498, while Eala, though very much a rising talent, sits at 101. On paper, it looked like a mismatch, but tennis is never played on paper. Just 2 days ago, in the opening round, the pair stepped onto the clay court and dismantled the far more experienced duo of Fanny Stolar and Shuai Sui in a performance that immediately turned heads. After dropping the first 2 games, something shifted. They rattled off 6 straight games, converting 3 out of 3 breakpoint chances to take the first set. The second set wasn't even close. A commanding 6-2, including a dominant 4-game run to start, sealed it. The final score, 6-2, 6-2, in just over an hour, wasn't luck. It was a statement. But here's where things start to get interesting.
And whatever frustration she's carrying from singles is likely to spill directly into this doubles match, where every point suddenly feels like a response. If you sat down in a laboratory and engineered the perfect modern doubles team, you might end up with something very close to Taylor Townsend and Kateřina Siniakova. Last month in Indian Wells, they captured the WTA 1000 title, grinding through a punishing draw under relentless pressure and proving exactly why they are considered one of the most complete pairings on tour. Townsend famously missed her son Aiden's 5th birthday to compete in and ultimately win the final. Think about that for a second. That is not a player who shows up to coast. That is someone competing with a level of purpose that goes beyond rankings and trophies. Siniakova, meanwhile, is a 10-time Grand Slam doubles champion. She doesn't just react at the net, she reads it. Hip angle, shoulder rotation, racket face, split-step timing, she processes it all in a fraction of a second and poaches before her opponents even realize the ball has left the strings. And Townsend complements that precision with explosive athleticism and fearless left-handed aggression. She stretches points wide, takes time away, and forces opponents into uncomfortable positions before Siniakova finishes them off at the net. Built to dominate, her serve on the ad side drags opponents wide into the doubles alley, opening up the center of the court for Siniakova to intercept the return. Her touch at the net is just as dangerous. Soft hands, sharp reflexes, and a disguise that can turn a defensive pickup into an outright winner. Together, they are not just a strong team,
does not play like Rome. It plays closer to a fast hard court wrapped in red dust, and that difference changes everything. On slower clay, Eala and Sönmez would struggle to consistently break through elite defensive structures. But in Madrid's conditions, if Eala steps inside the baseline and takes the ball early, she can actually rob Siniakova of time at the net and compress the point before the defense fully organizes. Her compact, aggressive swing is built for exactly those quick exchanges. And Zeynep Sönmez becomes the critical variable here. Sönmez, with a doubles ranking hovering around 500, gives Townsend and Siniakova virtually no recent tape to study. That alone makes her a partial unknown in this matchup. Her responsibility today is simple in theory, but brutal in execution. Extreme consistency. Deep, heavy returns aimed at the server's feet. Nothing floaty, nothing short, nothing that allows Siniakova to step in and end the point early. Sönmez will also need to mix in the lob intelligently, not as a desperation shot, but as a tactical reset, forcing the champions away from the net and turning at least portions of this match into baseline exchanges, where movement, stamina, and reaction time can matter more than pure doubles instinct. That's the blueprint for the underdogs. Narrow, but not non-existent. On the other side, expect Townsend and Siniakova to lean heavily on structure and disruption. Formations like the I formation and Australian positioning will likely appear throughout the match. In the I formation especially, Siniakova crouches low at the center service line, hiding her movement until the very last moment, popping either left or right depending on the serve and signal. For Eala and Sönmez, that creates constant uncertainty.
The returner is forced to commit early, stretch wide, and play under pressure without knowing where the interception is coming from. It's designed to shrink the court, speed up decisions, and force errors before the rally even truly begins. Against that, every return becomes a tightrope walk, thread the needle, or hand control straight back to the champions. Passing shots against those formations are often what trigger errors and open up the set for the favorites to close quickly. The more reliable response is usually the straight play, low, flat, and through the middle, removing angles and denying Siniakova the chance to intercept. The temptation, especially under pressure, will be to go for highlight reel winners early. The real test is whether Eala and Sönmez can resist that urge and stay disciplined point after point. Psychologically, this matchup creates a fascinating inversion of pressure. Townsend and Siniakova are expected to win, and expected to do so cleanly, efficiently, and without extended drama. If this match drags into tight early games, or if the unseeded pair strikes first, like they did in the opening round, the emotional balance shifts immediately. Experienced teams can sometimes tighten when a routine win stops looking routine. Margins shrink, decision-making speeds up, and doubt starts to creep in where there should be none. On the other side, Eala and Sönmez have already achieved a meaningful baseline result. Prize money secured, ranking points banked, and no real external expectation to go further. That creates a rare competitive freedom. No pressure, no forecasted outcome, just execution. A player with nothing to lose is rarely safe to face because she becomes unpredictable in the most dangerous way. There is also a physical layer to watch closely. Siniakova has had documented issues with her legs in past seasons, and in a fast, altitude-accelerated Madrid environment, movement recovery between points becomes a factor, especially if rallies start to extend and the underdogs succeed in dragging the match away from quick net exchanges. Worn down by the brutal demands of competing deep into both singles and doubles draws simultaneously. If Eala and Sönmez can stretch the match, make it physical, and turn it into a baseline grind rather than a clean net exchange, they may still find small openings late in the second set. It's a long shot, but long shots do occasionally land. So when all of it is stripped back, the narrative, the emotion, the altitude, the tactical chess, what is actually likely to happen at 5:20 p.m.? Honestly, Townsend and Siniakova win this. The talent gap is the first set to feel competitive, possibly even featuring early breaks, with Eala swinging freely and the Madrid crowd feeding off every bold strike. But once the champions find their return timing and lock down the net, the margin for error shrinks dramatically. From that point on, points shorten, pressure increases, and the underdogs are forced into riskier decisions just to stay level. My prediction? Townsend and Siniakova in straight sets, likely somewhere around 6-4, 6-2. But here's what matters beyond the scoreline. Alexandra Eala is going to leave that court today with a very clear understanding of what it takes to compete at the highest level of professional doubles. The pace, the pressure, and the suffocating net presence of a 10-time Grand Slam champion. That experience will travel with her into Rome next month, where heavier clay conditions suit her baseline game even more. She'll carry the sting of yesterday's singles loss and the intensity of today's battle straight into the rest of the season. This Madrid run isn't a detour. It's a chapter in a story that's still being written. For Townsend and Siniakova, a win like this isn't a statement. It's routine. It's another step in a larger process. They're using this clay swing to sharpen chemistry, test formations, and quietly signal to the rest of the field that they're building towards something bigger. Indian Wells was just the beginning. Roland Garros is the destination. Every match between now and Paris is preparation, and today feels like another controlled professional rehearsal. Court 7, 5:20 p.m.
On one side of the net is the unseeded pairing of Alexandra Eala from the Philippines, just 20 years old, alongside her partner Zeynep Sönmez of Turkey. On the other side, they face the number 2 seeds and reigning California Desert champions, a duo packed with experience and Grand Slam pedigree, Taylor Townsend of the United States and Kateřina Siniaková of the Czech Republic. If you're just catching up with the clay court season, this matchup is drawing attention across the tennis world for a reason, and here's exactly why it's become one of the most talked about clashes on the tour. Sönmez and Eala were not exactly the names circled in bold on anyone's prediction sheets before the tournament began. Sönmez carries a doubles ranking of 498, while Eala, though very much a rising talent, sits at 101. On paper, it looked like a mismatch, but tennis is never played on paper. Just 2 days ago, in the opening round, the pair stepped onto the clay court and dismantled the far more experienced duo of Fanny Stolar and Shuai Sui in a performance that immediately turned heads. After dropping the first 2 games, something shifted. They rattled off 6 straight games, converting 3 out of 3 breakpoint chances to take the first set. The second set wasn't even close. A commanding 6-2, including a dominant 4-game run to start, sealed it. The final score, 6-2, 6-2, in just over an hour, wasn't luck. It was a statement. But here's where things start to get interesting.